These are the best countries where you pay no taxes on your crypto gains, places where we move clients every week, helping them legally pay zero capital gains tax on millions of dollars in profits. First, we have Paraguay, a territorial tax country, 0%, and you don't even need to live there. The process takes approximately 3 months in total. You first travel to begin the residency and ID process, then return to sign and register the tax ID. RUC. With that, you can obtain a tax residency certificate which legally disconnects you from your country of origin. The only thing you must ensure is that your former country cannot still link you, either because you are still spending the minimum number of days required to be considered resident under the local rules, or because you maintain a strong economic or personal ties. You also have the option to get permanent residency by investing $70,000, which allows you to skip the 2-year temporary residency period. From there, you can naturalize after 3 years of permanent residency and obtain a second passport. However, it's not as easy as make it sound. Authorities will require that you actually live there and demonstrate a meaningful and substantial connection to the country. Alternatively, if you don't want to wait and want to be granted as someone of special interest to the state, you will have to donate or invest large sums of money locally. The second place we have in Latin America is Panama. Thanks to its territorial tax system and pro-crypto stance, Panama allows you to bank your funds even in local banks. I really like this now because until recently I wasn't recommending local banking. Getting the money out and transferring it to Europe could be complicated, but starting this year, the European Union has lifted financial restrictions on Panama, which makes it easier to move money from there to Europe. Alternatively, you can always bank through foreign institutions in Luxembourg, the UK, Switzerland, or Singapore. You start with a 2-year temporary residency, either by setting up a company or placing a $200,000 bank deposit. You can also obtain permanent residency by purchasing real estate worth $300,000, and you can do it in crypto. It's worth noting that Panama usually uses tax residency certificates if you live there for 6 months per year. However, if you have a strong center of economic interest in the country, you may not even need to physically reside there to be considered a tax resident. In theory, if you live 3 years with permanent residency, you can apply for naturalization. But in practice, Panama rarely follows through on this. It's true that the government recently announced a reactivation of this process, saying they will start approving more applications, but I personally wouldn't count on it, especially if there is a change in administration and the new government isn't pro-citizenship or pro-expedition. Next up is El Salvador. There is no more crypto-friendly country than this one. Yes, it's true that not many people plan to live there, but it's an option for a minority who want to pay poor 0% on crypto gains. The overall environment is extremely crypto positive. You can even obtain citizenship by investment through a $1 million donation sent directly to the government's wallet without having to bank the funds. If you are coming from Spain or another Latin American country and don't want to donate $1 million to gain citizenship, you can always live 2 consecutive years in the country and acquire citizenship by residency. Now let's move to Europe, starting with Portugal. If you are a European Union citizen, settling there is easy thanks to freedom of movement agreements. If you are not from the EU, you can invest in a golden visa for €500,000, even though a Bitcoin-backed fund. In 5 years, you can obtain citizenship and a passport without needing to live there 9 months a year like in other countries. You only need to spend 7 to 14 days per year, and if you maintain a property year-round, you can also qualify for a tax residency certificate. If you already hold a European passport, this golden visa may not be attractive, but for others, especially from countries facing instability, this represents a second chance, a second passport, and a backup plan. Many people settle there permanently. That said, I would recommend avoiding certain areas, as places like Spain and France are currently facing immigration issues and tensions are rising. For crypto purposes, you need traceability to declare your income, and you must hold your crypto for at least 365 days. So if you have held it for less than that, Portugal or any European country might not be the best choice for banking and declaring crypto. Not necessarily in Portugal either, you can hold tax residency while banking in another country. That's key. Many believe that if you move to Paraguay, Cyprus or Malta, you must use a local bank, and that's simply not true. You can use a bank elsewhere. Using a local bank might complicate things depending on the country, especially when it comes to compliance. Yes, it could increase your economic ties to that jurisdiction, which may be relevant in a residency dispute with your former country, but even just having your money banked abroad already counts as a foreign held assets, which can help you in a typical rule or under domestic legislation to argue that you are no longer a tax resident. Back in the European Union, we also have Germany and Cyprus. Germany only stands out because if you hold crypto for 1 year, you pay no tax, but everything else is extremely high tax. On the other hand, Cyprus does allow you to pay zero, although it doesn't explicitly require the 365 days holding period. However, problems may arise if you operate as an individual trader doing high-frequency buying and selling, as the income could be treated as personal income and taxed up to 35% plus social security contributions, which aren't negligible either. As in Germany, Portugal or Malta, I only recommend Cyprus if you have already held your assets for more than a year. Let's now talk about the UAE, a country where many people choose to settle to its connectivity, luxury, and zero tax environment. In crypto terms, you will pay absolute 0%. Banking there is excellent, especially if you access priority or private banking through institutions like Emirates NBD, or if you combine it with a strong banking in Singapore. You can obtain a tax residency certificate after spending 183 days per calendar year, which helps you to disconnect from your previous tax residency. But from the second or third year onward, just 90 days per year is enough. In the UAE, you can get a golden visa valid for 10 years, either through real estate investment of around 2 million dirham or through binomination law, and you don't need to invest in the country. Depending on how much you want to bank and donate, it's even possible to obtain citizenship in the UAE, but this is reserved for very VIP clients, those with hundreds of millions or even billionaires who are ready to invest or donate millions within the country. Aside from the UAE and Cambodia, which also offers citizenship through donation, there are many countries in Asia that offer nationality through these channels. In Cambodia, as we already mentioned, a $250,000 donation, which can be made in crypto, grants you citizenship. Alternatively, you can invest in government-approved real estate for around $305,000 plus about $100,000 in legal fees, more or less, in government charges and due diligence. Of course, we could mention other countries like Costa Rica, the Dominican Republic, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts, Thailand, or even the Isle of Man, and that's something we will cover in upcoming videos. But for now, if you are interested in banking your crypto, paying zero tax, or getting a second citizenship and a passport, whether crypto related or not, I invite you to fill out the form in the description and we will take a look together.